invite you to take the seat of the chair of the North Atlantic Council.
This is my video update on this Tuesday afternoon, October the 1st. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with some breaking news, and it is coming out of Ukraine, where it looks like Ugledar is going to be captured by the Russian military any day now. It looks like Ugledar is ready to fall. It could happen today. It could happen tomorrow or in a couple of days, but the images that we are getting is that the Russian military, they are raising flags, Russian flags in various parts of Ugledar. We are receiving reports that Ukraine military trapped in Ugledar because this city town is effectively encircled, and they are surrendering. Not all of the Ukraine military is surrendering, but there are significant parts of the Ukraine military trapped in Ugledar that are surrendering to the Russian military, and there are other parts of the Ukraine military, the 72nd, which are vowing to fight on, and they are in a hopeless situation because it does look like the Russian forces are now in much of Ugledar, and there is nowhere for the 72nd, these soldiers that do not want to surrender, there's nowhere for them to go. So hopefully they surrender, but it does look like Ugledar could fall even by today. We may get news that Ugledar has been captured by the Russian military, but it's going to happen any day now, and this was a tough city for the Russian military to capture. This was very, very tough for Russia to capture Ugledar, but they are about to do it, and this is going to be a huge defeat for the Zelensky regime, a massive blow to Zelensky and his victory plan. So from Ugledar, we can now move on to the big news of today and of yesterday, the ongoing Operation Northern Arrows. That is what Israel is calling its incursion into Lebanon. Operation Northern Arrows, which the collective West mainstream media is calling a very limited ground operation, not to be confused with Russia's incursion into Ukraine, which was an all-out, unprovoked act of aggression. Israel's incursion into Lebanon is a very limited ground operation. Some people, not me, but some people could call it a special military operation, but I'm not one of those people. I am going to stick with the collective West narrative of what is happening in Lebanon, and that is that it is a very limited ground operation. And Hezbollah has said they are ready for Israel's entry into Lebanon. That is what one of the Hezbollah spokesmen said, as it was announced that Israel is preparing to enter Lebanon, and then Israel did eventually enter Lebanon. And Hezbollah is saying that they're ready. Iran, their foreign minister, I think it was, said in a statement that Iran is not going to be sending any weapons, any soldiers, nothing to Lebanon. That's what Iran said. They said that Hezbollah has everything it needs to take on Israel in southern Lebanon, and that Iran. They said that they have not received any messages from Hezbollah that Hezbollah requires any kind of assistance at this moment. That is what the Iranian foreign ministry said, and I think it was the foreign ministry that put out this statement. So very interesting news. And I believe today in Iran, or yesterday, the Prime Minister of Russia arrived in Tehran. And from what I understand, they are preparing to announce all kinds of energy deals and cooperation between Russia and Iran. It does feel like Russia is consulting with Iran. It seems like Russia is telling Iran, just keep back, don't take the bait, don't jump into Lebanon. Hezbollah can handle it. Maybe Hezbollah can handle it. Who knows? Maybe Hezbollah cannot handle it. We will see. So that's the update with Operation, what is it called? Operation Northern Arrows. And Politico, they put out an article which says that the U.S. knew about Operation Northern Arrows. That is what Politico is reporting. The title of Politico's article is U.S. officials quietly backed Israel's military push against Hezbollah. The officials urged caution and stressed the need for diplomacy, but the timing was right for such a military shift, they concluded. An interesting article from Politico. It actually says that discussions for an incursion into Lebanon, a very limited incursion into Lebanon, that discussions were taking place in mid-September. That is when the U.S. and Israel were talking about going after Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. And the United States, according to Politico, the Biden White House, and Biden White House's representatives, their point men on everything that's happening between Hezbollah and Israel, Mr. Hochstein and McGurk. Those are the guys that were liaising with Israeli officials as they were discussing the operation into Lebanon. They told Israel to make it a very limited operation, to not go too deep into Lebanon, to not stay too long into Lebanon, and to make it a very limited incursion, because Politico is reporting that the Biden White House was very, very fearful of a wider war breaking out, of Iran getting pulled in, and eventually the United States getting pulled into a wider Middle East war. Though Politico didn't say it, the obvious reasons for the Biden White House being very cautious about Israel's incursion into Lebanon and a wider war breaking out in the region is because the Biden White House is concerned about the elections. Obviously, the Biden White House does not want a big Middle East war, with the U.S. having to send troops to the Middle East in October, 1 month before the elections take place, which would obviously reflect on Kamala Harris, because she's Biden's vice president. So that was the concern from the White House. I read a Twitter post today which said that, I don't know if this is true, but it said that I believe, National Guard in Tennessee, or troops. No, troops. Troops stationed in Tennessee that they have been sent to the Middle East. They have been deployed to the Middle East at a time when Hurricane Helene has demolished much of the region, and those troops could help a lot with the destruction from the hurricane in the southeast of the United States. Anyway, I read that today. I don't know how true that is, but I thought I would throw it out there. The concern for the Biden White House is no war in October, at least no wider war that can pull in the United States in October. So according to Politico, they told Israel, keep this limited, make this quick, and let's move on. Let's try to move on to the Biden ceasefire. When Biden was asked about the incursion into Lebanon, Biden said that he is still hoping for a ceasefire. He said, I am comfortable with them stopping. We should have a ceasefire. That is what Biden said to the media when he was asked about the incursion into Lebanon. What else did Politico say in this article? They said that as they were urging Israel to exercise restraint as they went into Lebanon, that they couldn't pass up the opportunity because, according to Politico and according to Hochstein and McGurk, as they were speaking with Israeli officials, they saw the opportunity to weaken Hezbollah and to weaken Iran as a historic opportunity that they could not pass up. Weakening Hezbollah's position in Lebanon. Let me read you what Politico said. Behind the scenes, Hochstein, McGurk, and other top U.S. national security officials are describing Israel's Lebanon operations as a history-defining moment, one that will reshape the Middle East for the better for years to come. The thinking goes, Israel has obliterated Hezbollah's top command structure in Lebanon, severely undercutting the group's capabilities, and weakened Iran, which used Hezbollah as a proxy and power projector. So an opportunity to reshape the Middle East, to severely weaken Hezbollah, and to weaken Iran. And so they took the opportunity that was presented to them. That is what Politico is saying. Even though the timing of it, 1 month before the elections, meant that the Biden White House had to tell Israel to hold back a bit. We'll see if Netanyahu holds back a bit or if he goes full in. We will see. My thinking, I don't know, something tells me that Netanyahu, he hates Biden, does not like Biden at all. My thinking is that he's going to disregard the Biden White House's message for restraint. He's going to go full in, or more in. I don't think he's going to keep this to very limited. That's just my hunch. Maybe Netanyahu does decide to keep this very limited. We will see. We are just at the beginning of all of this. So I bought this lemonade prime rehydration. Take a guess for how much. Just take a wild guess. How much this cost me. Take a guess. I'll tell you later. Maybe I'll remember to tell you later, towards the end of the video. The most expensive hydration drink I've ever had. It's not bad, but it's not worth the money I paid. Anyway, let's remind me to tell you how much. Let me know in the comments down below. So let's move on now, and what should we talk about? Man, October is going to be, it could be a very bad month for Biden and Harris. Biden probably doesn't care that much anymore. I have the feeling that Biden there's a part of Biden, I have the feeling that there's a part of Biden that would like to see Harris lose because he was coup d'etat. But it could be a really bad month for Harris as she tries to win in November. You have a possible big war in the Middle East. Netanyahu might say, you know what, I'm going all in. Forget what Biden is telling me, what he's urging me to do. I'm going all in. I don't care if there's an election. Netanyahu may actually want to see Trump win, so maybe he may look at this as a way to damage Harris. But anyway, Biden-Harris. But you could have a big war in the Middle East in October. You have the news about this strike at the port, which is going to cause all kinds of trouble in the United States. The negotiations broke down. The strike was announced, and this is going to cause all kinds of trouble with supply chains and inflation, the economy. This is going to be really bad for the Biden-Harris administration. So you have that as well happening in October, happening today actually. Project Ukraine is failing. Ugledar has been captured by the Russians, or will be captured today or tomorrow or in a couple of days by the Russian military. After Ugledar, it's going to be Donetsk, and then it's going to be Pokrovsk. Then it's going to be Chasov Yar, and who knows what could happen in October? What more the Russians might capture in October? A very bad month for Project Ukraine. And then you have the Hurricane Helene, which has been a devastating hurricane for Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee. And Trump was in Georgia the other day, but from what I understand, Biden has not made a trip yet to the areas affected by the hurricane. Now, the Biden White House, as most presidents always announce after these types of disasters the reasons they don't go. They say the reasons that they don't go right away is because they don't want to disrupt the rescue operations with the president going into the area. But it's now been how many days now? 3 days since the devastation. And from what I understand, Biden is going to go to the region tomorrow on Wednesday. And I don't think Harris has gone to the region. Trump was there. He was there yesterday. And from what I understand, I think Harris just spoke she gave a statement at a FEMA operation headquarters, FEMA headquarters, or an operation facility. And I think that's it. She hasn't gone down to the area. Biden's going to go tomorrow. Trump has already been there. And I was actually reading an article, I forgot from which publication. I want to say the Washington Post or the New York Times. Anyway, all the same mainstream media. But I was reading that Biden's going to observe the devastation from Air Force One, which reminded me of the photo of George W. when he was on Air Force One observing the devastation from Katrina. Was it Katrina? And how that damaged the Bush presidency. Bush never made it back from Katrina. And as they were describing how Biden was going to see the devastation from Air Force One, I was just thinking about how this is going to affect Biden's legacy, because Biden's very concerned about his legacy. And this is going to definitely affect Harris. I think that October is turning out to be a very bad month for the Harris campaign. We'll see. We will see. We are at October 1st, so we have another 30 days of October surprises to go. So Project Ukraine. Project Ukraine is unraveling, and we are getting reports, credible reports from Ukraine media. This is not Alex talking, just so you see what I see as I talk about the news. The skyline of Dubai. We are getting reports that Zelensky is going to be firing Android AI robot Budanov and replacing him with some guy who goes by the name of Oleg Ivachenko, who is the head of Foreign Intelligence Service. So Budanov is out. Oleg appears to be in. We will see if this actually happens. But we got reports last week that Zelensky is going to do another purge with the defense minister, Umerov gone, and Android AI robot Budanov gone. The reason that Ukraine media is saying that Budanov is on the chopping block is because the real president of Ukraine, the man that really runs the show, Zelensky's entertainment lawyer, Yermak, he does not get along with Budanov, so he wants Budanov gone. I have a different view of things. It seems to me as if all of these guys that are being fired by Zelensky, Kuleba, Reznikov, maybe Budanov, soon to be Budanov, they get replaced by a bunch of no-names, a bunch of nobodies. And the guys that have been fired, they just kind of melt away. Even Zaluzhny, who's ambassador to the UK, Ukraine's ambassador to the UK, he seems to have just kind of faded away. Reznikov, no one knows what happened to Reznikov. Kuleba, what happened to Kuleba? No one knows. I imagine Budanov's going to be the same. I have a suspicion, a hunch, a guess. It's just a guess, that these guys want to be fired. I don't know. Maybe they're even telling Zelensky, "Fire me." I don't know. You know, the ship is sinking. It's time to jump ship and to cash in my chips, my earnings, and to just kind of fade away, melt away into rich billionaire elite society. And in a couple of years, who knows? Maybe I'll be buying, if I'm Budanov, maybe I will be the owner of Chelsea. I don't know. I always pick an English Premier League football team. Why is that? Maybe I'll be purchasing AC Milan. I don't know. Olympiakos, Panathinaikos. Greek football teams. Anyway, that's the news there. And Orban, he is getting on the peace plan bandwagon. He is getting on board the peace plan trend, and it looks like Orban, he wants to get a peace summit going, and he would like China and Brazil to join him. So he wants to combine. He wants to get his peace summit started, and he wants to combine his peace summit with the China-Brazil peace summit, and he wants to create a big peace summit to rival Zelensky's peace summit. Orban, man. And the reports that I'm getting is that this is the best part of this story, is that Switzerland, which I talked about yesterday, but also France, they have shown interest in Orban's peace summit, especially if Orban can get Brazil and China to join forces with him. So Orban is jumping on the peace summit trend, and this is really upsetting Zelensky and Ukraine. I mean, they're furious with all of these peace summits that are popping up. I think I'm going to start a peace summit. Maybe you should start a peace summit. Start some peace summits. It's the new trend. TikTok peace summit trend. Peace summit. So that's Orban, and Stoltenberg. Stoltenberg is he's done as the NATO chief. Should we go for a walk? It's hot. I'm a sweating, but I think I'm rehydrated with my Prime lemonade. My Prime lemonade, it cost me a good €7. I forgot the exact amount, €7 and 36 cents or something like that. €7 to rehydrate. Anyway, it was good. It was tasty and cold, which I needed. So Stoltenberg, he's done as the NATO chief. He handed over the gavel to Mark Rutte. And as he was handing it over to Rutte, from what I understand, Stoltenberg actually said that Ukraine should be led into the alliance. Those were his last words. His final words were to let Ukraine into the alliance. So that's it. We are now looking at NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. And Stoltenberg, he's going to be rewarded very well for the job that he has done. He will be rewarded very well. He caused a lot of destruction, chaos, a lot of war, a lot of money made by the military-industrial complex. Globalists are going to be very happy with Stoltenberg, and we'll see where he goes next. We will see. The guy that was before Stoltenberg from Denmark, what's his name? Anders something. I always forget the dude's name. I always forget what his last name was. What was his last name? Anyway, you guys will tell me in the comments down below. He went on to work for, I believe he's working for think tanks, or for a think tank that pushes for escalation for Ukraine. So that's what he actually went on to work for. He went from NATO to working for a think tank that lobbies for escalation and weapons for Project Ukraine. So Stoltenberg, Rolls Royce, nice. So Stoltenberg, he will get some gig like that. So Rutte, Mark Rutte, did a terrible job in the Netherlands and promoted to NATO. In Austria, we had the elections, which I talked about in my video update from yesterday. And it now looks like the People's Party, which is the party that was governing, that came second in the elections with Nieheimer, that they are signaling that they're open to form a coalition with the Freedom Party. So I said yesterday that the globalists, there's no way that they're going to allow the Freedom Party to form a government. But it looks like the People's Party, which got about 26%, they've signaled that they will form a government with the Freedom Party under one condition, that Herbert Kickl, the leader of the Freedom Party, does not become chancellor. The chancellor comes from the People's Party. I believe is it OVP, the People's Party? The chancellor comes from there, and they will allow the Freedom Party to have various positions in certain ministries, like the foreign ministry and stuff like that, economic ministry, and so on and so forth. So that's the news from Austria. And I think we could do a clown world. A lot of construction, huh? Wow. A lot of construction. So this is a wild clown world. I want to go somewhere quiet to talk about this clown world. You know what? Let's go down that way. I saw a little park. I think I saw a park. So I think I've got a good clown world today. And of course, the clown world is focused on none other than Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is making a lot of clown world appearances, huh? Boris Johnson. So he's writing a book, from what I understand, his memoirs. Boris Johnson's memoirs. I think the title of his book is How to Win Clown World Awards. My memoirs. No, he's writing a book, and in this book, Boris Johnson, he is saying that he sabotaged Macron because Macron sabotaged him. This is such a weird story, man. Let me put this down here so I can read you what's going on. And this has to do with migration into the UK. Brexit has to do with Brexit, migration into the UK, and AUKUS. And just so you understand that the leaders in the collective West are just psychopaths, sociopaths, nut jobs. It's almost like they're playing games with. They're playing games with each other at the expense of chaos and suffering around the world, but they don't care. These are like elite globalist games that they play with each other, power games, pissing matches. That's the word. That's what it seems like. But here's the story. Man, I really butchered this clown world, huh? Anyway, AUKUS was part of a plan to punish Macron, says Boris Johnson. And here is a post from Arnaud Bertrand. Unreal. It really shows how unserious these people are, ready to destabilize the entire planet for petty personal revenge. Boris Johnson, in his newly published memoirs, reveals that AUKUS was a revenge against Macron because he suspected him of purposefully not doing enough to drop the flow of small boats with migrants that crossed the Channel to Britain, all as a way of punishing Britain for Brexit. As a result, Johnson writes in his book that he managed to get US President Joe Biden to agree to sign a secret defense deal with Australia at the G7 summit at Cornwall in 2021, which meant Canberra would have to pull out of an agreement to buy submarines from the French. AUKUS, which is of course an extremely destabilizing initiative in Asia Pacific, not only because it effectively strips Australia of its sovereignty, as so many key authoritative Australian figures have made clear, but also considerably increases tensions with China and other countries. AUKUS was revenge, as the headline says from the Telegraph. So let's see if I've got this right. Macron was upset with Boris Johnson because of Brexit. So he gets revenge on Boris by sending small boats. That must be the words that Boris uses in his book, small boats. So Macron sends small boats into Britain to get revenge for Brexit, and Boris gets revenge by convincing Biden, gets revenge on Macron by convincing Biden to convince Australia to drop out of their submarine deal with France and being a part of AUKUS, making a deal for AUKUS. Do I have that correct? And destabilizing the Asia Pacific, putting Australia in a terrible position. This was not about the well-being of Australia or Australia's national interest. This was just some beef that Boris Johnson had with Macron, and Boris effectively convinced Biden, not hard to do, given Biden's mental state. And this was just some sort of playground pissing match between Boris and Macron. Is that what's going on here? Unfreaking believable. And this is coming from Boris Johnson. Allegedly, this is from his book that's going to be released any day now. That's what he is saying went down. Let's destabilize the whole Asia-Pacific region. Let's screw over Australia. Let's cost people all kinds of money, taxpayers all kinds of money, because I'm upset with Macron, because he's upset with me and Brexit. So if this happened with Brexit and AUKUS, all of this childish stuff, what went down when Boris Johnson went to Kiev in 2022? What was that all about? Was Boris Johnson upset with another Collective West leader? Did they have a bet going on or something like that? I bet you I can get Zelensky to pull out of the agreement he has with Russia. Emmanuel, I bet you I can get Zelensky to drop out of the deal. No, Boris, I bet you can't. Or was Boris jealous of Putin? Was he upset with Putin or jealous because Putin's normal and Boris is not? I don't know. I don't know. What went down in Ukraine with Boris Johnson? I mean, my God, these are the people that run countries. Boris Johnson was Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And these are the childish games that he was engaged in. Unbelievable, man. Unfreaking believable. But that is what Boris is saying happened. Anyway, that's the video, everybody. TheDuran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and Twitter X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch. What an interesting building. It's got a hole in the middle. Pick up some merch like the shirt I am wearing today with the patch of grease on the sleeve. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.